Now to our exclusive interview with Earvin Magic Johnson, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Nate just told us he's his favorite player. He won 5 NBA titles with the LA Lakers and an Olympic gold medal with the 1992 Dream Team. 30 years ago this week, Johnson revealed at a press conference that he had HIV, the virus that can cause AIDS. The news was a bombshell because at the time, that diagnosis was considered a death sentence. We spoke with Johnson at the Waldorf Astoria in Los Angeles about his reaction that day and how he got through it with the support of his wife, Cookie. Even for Hollywood, it was perfect casting. The man who single-handedly produced magical moments on the basketball court was at the top of his game when it all disappeared right before our eyes.
A tragic ending to a magical career.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
Let's go back, Earvin, 30 years. What did you know about HIV before you were diagnosed? Because what we knew was scary.
Right. At that time, the only thing I knew, if you got AIDS, you died, right? And so I had to really learn a lot about the disease, HIV as well as AIDS. I had to make sure that I was open-minded enough to ask a lot of questions, go get a lot of information from different people.
Johnson first learned of his diagnosis after a routine physical back in 1991. He was called back home from a preseason game in Utah so that the Lakers team physician, Dr. Michael Melman, could deliver the news in person.
Went straight to Dr. Melman's office, and then that's when he told me I had HIV.
And when you first heard those words, what was the thought in your mind?
Oh, I was just devastated. I'm asking them 100 times, are you sure? And they said, hey, we ran the test a couple of times, and yes, you do have HIV. And so I just lost it right there. You know, you just sit there and say, what does this mean? Am I gonna die? Because I definitely asked him that. And he said, well, you have a chance to live for a long time with all the new drugs that are coming down the pipeline. But the toughest thing, Gayle, that I had to do was really drive home and tell Cookie. It was hard because I loved her so much and I hated to hurt her. I played against some of the best basketball players in the world, right? I've been in championships, I've been in 9 finals, so I know pressure. But it was no greater pressure than driving home to tell her. Even today, it's still the toughest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
The Johnsons were married a little over a month when Magic announced his diagnosis, and they had just learned Cookie was pregnant.
The key moment was when Cookie took the test and the results came back that her and the baby was fine.
That must have been a huge relief for you.
Yes, because I was scared to death. I wanted to make sure that she was going to be okay, the baby was going to be okay, and then I could move forward with trying to make sure I was going to be okay.
Earvin Magic Johnson attacked the stigma surrounding HIV with the same passion he displayed on the court, launching the Magic Johnson Foundation to raise awareness about the virus, then pushing Congress and the White House to spend money to fight the disease. But he still longed for the game of basketball, and his first retirement would be short-lived. Even though he had not played a single regular season game, fans voted him onto the NBA All-Star team in 1992. And a few months later, he played on the U.S. Olympic Dream Team.
It proved to be the right decision. It helped people who were living with not just HIV and AIDS, but with any disease that you can live on, you can be and live a productive life.
And there were mixed reviews about you coming back.
Controversy over Johnson's return has erupted in the last few weeks. Even one of his Olympic dream teammates, Karl Malone, expressed fear about having to play against him in the physical, sometimes bloody NBA arena.
How did you feel when there was backlash about you returning with some of the players, when you got hurt?
Yeah, I got cut, and I was very upset at the backlash, because I just played with a lot of the guys who didn't want me to come back. You know, well, I just spent 3 months with you, playing against you, with you, and so now.
But you got cut and that changed the game. That scared people.
That scared the crowd. You could just hear, I never want to hurt the game, right? So this is a game that I love, and so if the guys are going to be scared, the fans didn't know, So I said, you know what, after that game, I said, I'm just going to retire.
Johnson returned to the sport he loved one more time in 1996.
I told Cookie, I said, you know what, maybe I should look at playing one more time.
And
Because
she
I want to
said?
end it the right way.
Okay. Because you never felt it ended the right way. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's
Fair
why I
point.
came back. I ended it the way I wanted it to end.
After that, his focus finally began to shift.
Oh, I missed the game. Oh, man. Cookie will tell you. I sit on that couch and watching the Lakers play. That was so hard for me, you know, because I said, I should be out there. But it wasn't until she came home, I tell you, Gayle, what changed my life and got me going into business. She came home and said, you know what, Irvin, I'm mad and I'm upset. You got to be the man that I married. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, you've always wanted to be in business. Why are you sitting on this couch? Wow. You got to get started. So get out.
Cookie Johnson remembers that moment, too.
I'm looking at you like this, sitting on this couch. That's not the man I married. You know, the man I married was a hard worker. He was changing the world. You know, he had all these ideas. He was so full of life. I don't know who this is. You need to get up and figure that out.
Irvin and Cookie met when they were students at Michigan State University in the 70s. Cookie says at first she did not want to have the press conference announcing his diagnosis.
The stigma with AIDS. At that time, people weren't educated, so they thought you couldn't touch people, you couldn't hug people. And I didn't want people to treat us like we were lepers.
I still remember the press conference. You're sitting there in that white suit. What were you thinking?
I was thinking, you know, be strong, and I wore that white suit for a reason. I didn't want to wear anything dark or black, because to me, it's what it symbolized. And the white suit to me symbolized, you know, brightness, like a future, basically, you know, positivity.
When he told you how he got it, what was your thought?
At that time, when he said, you know, that he had it, and it was probably through sexual contacts, because he didn't have any blood transfusions or anything like that. It wasn't how he got it that was important to me. It was, you're possibly going to die. And that trumped everything.
She really is a living example, Irving, of for better or worse in the marriage vows.
Right.
Don't you think?
Oh, no question about it.
Because for some people, for better or worse doesn't include that, you know?
Right.
Even when we broke up all those times and I was dating other people, I said, I already know who I'm gonna marry.
You did?
Oh, I told all the women that. I know who I'm gonna marry. I said,
I bet you were a fun date. I'm really gonna marry her.
Oh, they knew I was gonna marry Cookie. There's no doubt who I was gonna marry.
With Cookie by his side, the 62-year-old basketball legend is a very successful businessman, a loving father and grandfather. Don't you feel like this is your city?
This is my,
I do. I
definitely
feel
my
it's your
city.
city.
Oh yeah.
Today, Johnson runs point in the boardroom as CEO of Magic Johnson Enterprises, an investment company focused on providing high-quality products and services to underserved communities. Do I dare ask if being a businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist is better than playing basketball?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, it is.
And how is your health today?
Oh, it's great. Still undetectable, and so.
Do you have to take medication every day still?
Yes.
Still.
Cocktail once a day. It went from 3 times a day now just once, and so everything is great.
Andy says no matter what, there's one thing his diagnosis decades ago could never defeat.
That situation wasn't going to change my attitude and mindset and the person that I am. Okay, if I was going to die, I was going to die being Irvin Johnson, right?
And what does that mean, being Irvin
I mean,
Johnson?
just being an upbeat person with a good attitude, and so that's just who I am.
That is exactly who he is. He said most people said he wouldn't last 3 or 4 years, let alone 30. As you see, he certainly credits Cookie. He says, if it wasn't for Cookie, I wouldn't be the man I was today. I say hear to that. He's a hero, but she certainly is a hero in a very other way. He admits that without her, he wouldn't have gotten through this. And after that news conference where, you know, as you heard, she didn't want to have it, a group of friends took them to Hawaii so they could just be alone. And they said, we'll never forget how we were embraced at that time.
It's a beautiful thing. And what an example of making a marriage work, right? and the courage there from Magic Johnson. You forget in that moment, Rock Hudson, the great Hollywood actor, had just died 5 years earlier, very publicly, and people really, really felt that if you have this, you're done.
Yeah, individuals like Arthur Ashe as well, because of the transfusion. I think about Kobe Bryant because it happened recently, another Laker player, but it just rocked sports fans to the core that he passed away along with the others on that helicopter. It was kind of like that for Magic Johnson because we just all assumed one of the greatest players is going to die.
Yeah.
And he's still here.
We're happy to say he gets up at 4:30 every day and goes to the gym. He's still working out, taking his medication. He's all good.
And a great businessman, too.
And a really good businessman.
He knows how to make money.
In addition to the Magic Johnson Foundation, you can find information on HIV testing, prevention, and treatment by visiting hiv.gov, G-O-V.